Hey everybody, it's Alan Smith. Welcome back. I'm going to do a quick paint desk update for you today. I have finished my 15mm British American War of Independence Army, and I now have on the desk primed and prepped my American War of Independence Continental Army. Looking forward to it, wrapping this up. I'll have those two armies built so that I can move forward with my Civil War 15mm armies. Okay, first thing here on the desk. I'm currently working on my Continental artillery units. If any of you have been on my Facebook group, Alan Smith Gaming Group, I put more stuff up there more regularly, so I highly encourage you guys to get on there and join. And it's also a place not for me to showcase what I'm working on, but I encourage everyone to share and put things on there that they are working on or that they're interested in with the hobby. So check that out. So I'm working here on my artillery, and I kind of went with a French style, since it struck me as this being a French style cannon. And how did I know that? Well, on my trusty handy American War of Independence encyclopedia right here. And we're gonna pop on here real quick. I'll put this under the action cam. So we will go to the Continental Artillery. So this is where I got my guide for the uniforms. So if you don't have this book, that's fine too, guys. You can get on Google American War of Independence, Continental Artillery, and there'll be tons of picture references on there for you. But flipping through the book, down to the French artillery, and you can see that the comparative of the type of carriage style perfectly matches what I've got here. So it was a hodgepodge, for the Continental Army. They really did a lot of whatever they could get their hands on. You could say the French, they got these cannons out from the French. They took them from an old French fort. It's hard to say. Captured British cannons, artillery pieces, mortars. But essentially what we're doing here is we're just sticking with the blue. This was a good match for the coats in the book. And here you can see a comparative of the British artillery. Very similar. You got to look really closely. The blue with the red facings is the same colors that the Americans are going to have. So this is actually a little bit lighter. This is more like a Prussian blue. This is a royal blue, more of a royal blue. And with the red facings. The cannon carriages will be different, so we'll be able to distinguish the difference on the battlefield. But kind of interesting, since again, the Continentals were kind of picking up whatever they could get their hands on as far as uniforms. I have been told that a lot of the Continental uniforms were from the French Foreign Legion or old French uniforms that were basically handed down to the Continentals. So yeah, there's that. So that's what we're going with. Some of the basic colors, like for the cannons, I'm sticking with like a neutral gray, obviously black for the caps and the boots, and also the trim on the cannons, which would have been cast iron. Brass for the actual cannon. So that's kind of what I'm working with. Now, my Continentals, I've got, just like my British force, I'm going to have 2 regiments of Continental Cavalry. Very similar, kind of similar to the Brits, except for the helmet, the cap that they would wear had more of a, I don't know what you call it, a flowing, like it was probably horsehair or something, on the top of their helmet, which is different from the Brits. And I already got started with these as the grays, like Scots Greys horses. Here's one that's just primed. Again, when I'm talking Napoleonic era, black powder era, I like to do the white because that's my strappings, and then I will still go in at the very end after my light brown wash and pick out some of the straps with just flat white, just to kind of highlight the high spots where the sun would be hitting, just to give them a little bit of added contrast. But overall, I'm still going to be using white because it takes care of a lot with this era, because a lot of times the pants are white, the straps are white, right? So it automatically helps me get done quicker going this route. You can see I've got 3 strips of the firing Americans, Continentals. I've got 3 strips of marching, and again, these are Old Glory, oldglory.com. Got a great ordering system, and I purchased a membership for $50. It gives me 50% off, 50 bucks for the year, from the date that you purchase it to the following year. You're going to get 50% off. So 15 mil is already going to be 1/3 to 1/2 the cost of going 28 mil, as an example. So the other advantage I'm finding with sticking with 15 mil, as I've said in other videos, is these are pewter. They're metal. They actually feel like, you know, actual game pieces. You know, so you're getting that nice weight that the plastic just does not give you. Gives you a nice feel when you're moving your armies on the table. So I got 3 strips of marching. I've got 3 strips of dudes marching forward with bayonets drawn. Really nice. I really like these figs. Lots of good detail. They're fun to paint. Don't be scared off by the smaller scale. I honestly think it's easier. You don't have to get as much minute detail. You're pretty much using 5, maybe 6 colors, and you're done. Your wash, you know, go back in and pick out some details, and they're ready for your protective coat, your protective finish, and basing, and you're good to rock. I've got 3 strips of the light infantry. Right, light infantry. So I'll have a regiment of light infantry. Just like the Brits, I've got a regiment of light infantry in British. These will be your drummers, some of your sergeants, right? I got my flag bearers, some corporals, right? Skirmishers. Now in this era, you're going to be dealing with skirmishers. These are like Last of the Mohicans dudes, right? You're going to have the dudes in the buckskins. They're going to be your skirmish guys that come in, just kind of piss off the enemy, right? And the games I've played with Rob, Rise and Fight Again is the rule set, and that rule set is upcoming, guys. I'm almost done with my notes. I really like the rule set, but look forward to that. That's the system that we played, and I did some damage with my skirmishers. I really like those suckers. So I'm really looking forward to playing these on the table. The other rule set that we like to play that is in another upcoming rule book review is Maurice. Maurice. You may not have heard of that one. That's a little more obscure, and it's out of print currently, and it uses some cards. And that's a nice little rule set too, but we'll get to that. So look forward to that on the channel. These guys I picked up from Rob, used. You know, he does some commission work and whatnot. He ends up with some extra figs, so I picked these up off of him. These are more like kind of a hodgepodge. You got a guy with a cap, but some of them have, like, you know, coverings over their ears because it's cold. This would have been like Valley Forge type troops, but I figured I'd roll them into this army. We could just say it's a cold spring day and these guys came down from the mountains and they had their ears covered up or whatever, you know. So some more marching guys. I got 3 strips of these. Now some of my big favorites with this army I'm building are my commanders. So you got these guys. So these would be your commanders. Now most rule sets, including American War of Independence, you're going to have command distance. You're going to have a commander to the regiment, and he's got to stay within a certain distance so that your unit is in command, or you will suffer a penalty, right? When you shoot and when you move. But these are some great poses. I really like these, just like my Brits. And of course, you got the classic leader that points. Right? He's pointing. Go there, do that. Stop this, do that. Right? Kind of cool. So that's basically it for what I've got on the table right now. I've got a few 28 mil Perry minis that are metal. I've just got a few more left to finish up. I just, was chomping at the bit, so to speak, to get onto this, finishing up this Continental Army. So these are my Queen's Rangers I've not used. I'm going to be using for my Forager skirmish game, which would be Napoleonic era. So that's basically what I'm working on here on my paint desk currently. A lot of fun, a lot of interest. I've learned so much more about American War of Independence. It's a really deep subject when you start digging into the history. I thought I knew a lot, but comes to find out that I don't know as much as I thought I did. So that's the other great thing about this hobby, is when you start digging into things, there's so much that you learn, not just the tactics and everything. It's what makes this such a amazing hobby, a deep hobby. I guess 40K guys would call it the meta, the background story. So there's a lot there, guys, a lot there. So I encourage you. This is an era that really doesn't get gamed a whole lot, and it should be. This is, in my opinion, as interesting historically as the American Civil War, I would say. Lot going on. So I encourage you to give this era a look, even if you just do a skirmish level. There's several skirmish games out there. The one that I've featured on this channel is called Forager, where you actually create like a character sheet for your minis, so it gives them a lot of individuality. That's a really fun rule set. I wanted to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank my longtime subscribers, and hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Ciao.